Now I want to talk to you about data types. So first of all, you may have noticed that next to these variables, we have little icons. And these little icons actually tell us what data type there are. Here we have strings. This represents numbers. Here we have a true false, a binary variable. And here we have information that actually has geo location associated with it. So that is what we have here. So these data types is in the same way that when you open Excel and Excel decides what it does, to a column or to a cell. Tableau does the same thing. Tableau kind of assigns what it is. So it automatically recognizes this is a zip code. If it didn't recognize it, you can actually assign it. So let's say this zip code is actually something, you can here assign a geographic role. So if I were to take this geographic role away, because I'm saying, hey, I just want this to use as a number. It doesn't make sense, but let's say I wanted to. See how it changed here? And I can, again, change this back. I said, no, it's a zip code. I can assign a geographic role, and it is a zip code. If I do something that's nonsensical, I may be able to do it, but it'll create problems, of course. Wonderful. Okay, great. Then there's one more important thing I wanted to show you about, and this is this little line here. So what happens with that line? I want to show you something. I have here a hospital overall rating. So if I move this, you just saw it. If I move this, or any line actually for that matter, you see this line gets annotated with dimension and measure. So what does this mean? So Tableau differentiates between dimensions and measures. Dimensions are typically and they differentiated that for the purpose of making graphs. It differentiates them in the way that dimensions are most of the time your categorical variables, whereas measures are numbers. And that is important. I'm placing escape here. And that is important for plotting graphs. And you remember the show me button. Here, when I go over an idea for a graph, it actually tells me, hey, to make a bar chart, you need a measure, and ideally a dimension as well. And here, like maybe this is better. I need one dimension, basically my categorical variable, like this is, hospital A, hospital B, hospital C, and then the measures, like number of beds. And then I can make a bar chart like this. And so that's the way Tableau works and Tableau thinks. And you see it gives the blue color to dimensions and the green color to measures. Okay, so let's put this to work. And I told you you can change zip code. We changed the property here, and actually we can change it whether it should be considered a measure, like more like a category, or we should look at it as a number. Hospital overall rating here is a number that I'm familiar with. I looked at before. I know it has the CMS ratings of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The reason why Tableau didn't put it in our numbers here is because there's NAs in there, or not rated, or things like that. So let's see if I can force to have the numbers. But before I do that, let me try to put things on a map. So remember how we did maps. We took our latitude and longitude, and again, I never remember where goes which. I know this is the wrong one, so I switch it around, and then I know I have my map here. And just out of curiosity, if you're wondering why Pennsylvania, why this dot, it takes here by default, the average of these information. And we're going to get into this average in our next video. So now I want to plot my different hospitals. So let's say I want to have the facility names. So I'm gonna go with this data here that I hadn't explored yet, right? So facility name, I put this on my detail. Remember that gives me the map, and I also want to maybe provide what type it is in the detail description. So type, and that's from down here, and we'll put it in here, detail. And so see how that worked. It was from the two different data sets, right? So the data sets are now linked. So pulling data from here and here, it knows that they are connected. That was kind of the point of this initial linking we did here. So, all right, so now I hover over that, and I have facility name and the type of hospital. Okay, so now I want to have this new variable, my hospital overall ranking, and I want to put this on color. I want to color code my map here. And here you see now what happens, right? So it recognizes that here are these categorical variables. My dimension has a not rated, it has nulls, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fantastic. And it doesn't know anything about the size of these numbers, right? It doesn't know that 1 is way worse than 5 or anything like that. But I want to make, so now I can go in and change the color so it's like it's a scale, but I know that these numbers have a meaning. So can I make this into a number? Okay, so I'll pull this out again. I'm gonna get rid of it. And now I want to actually change the hospital overall rating, and I'm gonna drag it down here to my measure. So see, it's now a measure down here. And I also need to convert it to a number. So I click on this ABC, and I say, I don't want it to be a string anymore. I want this to be a whole number. And it just went somewhere. Hospital rating. It jumped back up here. Maybe that's where it came from. And I'll move it down here. And so now I have it down here as a measure. So it's green now, not blue anymore. We'll see what happens if I do it now. If I pull it now onto my color, see what happens. Now it recognizes actually this to be numbers. But it did also something in the sense of, what is it doing here? This brings us to the topic of the aggregate functions. Aggregate function is what Tableau does to data when I pull it in here, right? It has to aggregate it in the sense of, how do I display it? Do I display each one? Do I display the average? Do I display the sum? So here it did something that actually it counted it. And I'm like, I don't want to count it. I don't want to count the number of hospitals on a spot. Actually, this is an attribute of the spot. So I changed this to attribute. See what happened here? And now see what happened in my map here. So now I have a color scale and that describe this situation. And now I can also go in here and edit my colors. And you know, this is the automatic one. Maybe I want to go something from red to blue. Is there something like this? Red, green, red, blue, white, divergent. Yeah, that I like that one. Let's do that one. Apply and see how I can do this. I have now, I also just, you know, to you know, be flexible here, I'm gonna pull this into my filters and see it initially wanted to do this sort of counting, but it asks me, hey, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to count it? No, I don't want to count it. I want it as an attribute. Like, what is it, right? I don't want to count the number of hospitals, you know, rating in that spot. I want it as an attribute. So here it couldn't figure it out by itself. It knew I should ask me. That was smart. And now it can, you know, can show me all these attributes. I didn't filter anything. I wanted to show the filter. And so now I can sort of filter around like this. So I excluded all the nulls, you know, through that, by the way. Of course, I can bring them back as well. And I can also, here's also something you can do, right? Let me take this away. Let's say the hospital rating that is in here, that stays like this. If I, let's say, want to have my hospital rating actually as a dimension, I put it back here, and filter it into here. See how it opens up a totally different kind of query it wants, because now it's looking at it, you know, not as a number, but as distinct values. So I'm going to apply this here. Oops. And I'm going to go show the filter. It looks like I filtered everything out. That's why everything disappeared. And so maybe that's actually a nicer way, you know, to do it. And I can look at all my nulls here. So there are some nulls, and I can investigate why I don't have ratings. Oh, it seems like, you know, this children's hospital, psychiatry, short-term hospitals don't have ratings. That's maybe a first glance hypothesis. But we'll pause here and continue in the next video.